Danger Dolan. From stories you can't even talk about without dying, to girls living in shadows waiting to drag you to hell, we count 15 scary stories told around the campfires of history.
Number 15.
The White Death, a story from Scotland about a little girl who hated life, so much to the point that she wanted to destroy everything and everyone she knew. She committed suicide, and only a few days later, each member of her family were murdered, their limbs torn apart. The legend goes that upon learning about the girl's death, her ghost finds you and knocks on your door, slowly knocking louder and louder until you open it and she kills you.
Number 14.
The tale goes, a kid is sleeping in her bed when she hears the sound of tap water, so she heads over to the faucet and tries to plug it up. When she returns to the bed, she lets her arm drape over the side to let her dog lick her fingers, which it does. The dripping continues, but not from the faucet. She checks her shower only to discover her dead dog, dripping blood, with a note on top that reads, "Humans can lick too."
Number 13.
Cowhead, a Japanese legend about a story so haunted that simply telling it usually leads to death. One group of students were taken on a field trip, and on the bus the teacher decides to tell a scary story. As he begins the story called Cowhead, he gets more intense and involved, foaming at the mouth. The students yell for him to stop, but he can't. All of them were later found with the bus in a ditch, all foaming in a sort of trance. All of them had blocked out the Cowhead story and wouldn't even discuss it afterwards. Some even died a few days later.
Number 12.
Cosmetic Sesame, a South Korea story about a girl super conscious of her own looks. She heard about a new beauty treatment involving soaking alongside sesame seeds in bath water. She decided to give it a go in her own bath, but several hours later her mother got worried and forced open the door when her daughter refused to open it for her. She was horrified to find the girl crouched in a corner of the room with seeds lining every wrinkle and pore in her body, roots visibly growing inside her skin while she attempted to painfully remove them one by one.
Number 11.
Girl from the Gap, the spirit of a Japanese girl who lives between the darkened gaps of furniture, doors and drawers, waiting for you to meet her gaze. She will then ask you to play hide and seek, and the next time you meet her, she will pull you into the gap and drag you to either hell or an entirely new dimension.
Number 10.
Midnight Game, a game for kids like Bloody Mary, but with rules far more convoluted and terrifying. Before midnight, you write your name on paper and dot it with your own blood. You turn off all the lights, place the paper in front of a closed door, put a candle on top of that and light it. Then knock on the door 22 times with a 20-second knock at exactly midnight. Then open the door, blow out the candle and close it again. Relight the candle and the game begins. The Midnight Man will wander through your home. If he catches you, you will die. The game ends at 3:33 AM, but the Midnight Man may not actually leave after the game ends.
Number 9.
The Choking Doberman, an Australian legend about a couple who came home one night only to find their dog choking on something. The man panicked and actually fainted while the woman races off to the vet to get a dog seen to. She returns home to check on her husband when the phone rings. She picks it up only to find the vet hysterical, saying she needs to get out of the house now. As she and her husband run downstairs, a policeman passes them claiming the dog was choking on a man's finger, that the intruder might still be in their home, and sure enough, they found a burglar unconscious in the bedroom.
Number 8.
Noppera-bō, a Japanese creature that likes to frighten humans. It will appear in your life as an ordinary human being, usually impersonating someone close to you. As you let down your guard around the creature, it quickly drops its facade, causing its face to disappear, leaving a blank, smooth sheet of skin where the face should be. This creature was the original inspiration for the monster we know today as Slenderman.
Number 7.
Hello Kitty Murder, a 1999 Hong Kong abduction of this 23-year-old woman by 3 men, held captive for a month and tortured relentlessly every day. In the end, she died. Her body was chopped up and disposed in the trash. Her head sewn inside a Hello Kitty doll, which became a press icon for the case. A 13-year-old girlfriend of one of the culprits complained to the police that the ghost of the murdered woman visited her frequently, and upon checking CCTV, the police noticed ghostly female forms wandering the streets. The criminals were given life sentences.
Number 6.
Black Volga, a story coming in from Poland about a black Volga car frequently spotted on the streets in the 1960s, supposedly driven by kidnappers looking to steal children. According to legend, Soviet officers would drive similar cars in Moscow during the 1930s to kidnap young girls for sexual pleasure. Nowadays, people have claimed this black Volga to be driven by priests, vampires, or even Satan himself.
Number 5.
Tiki Tiki, a Japanese schoolgirl that fell onto train tracks and was cut in half, her legs and half her torso torn clean off. She was supposedly returned as a vengeful spirit carrying a blade, traveling around on her hands and elbows, all the while making the dreaded scratching noise as she drags along the ground on her upper torso. Tiki Tiki. She attacks people too slow to run away, slicing them in half with her blade, just as she had been sliced by the train.
Number 4.
Midnight Bus, an old Chinese tale about a man boarding a bus at midnight alongside an old man. At the time, the bus was empty aside from these two, but after a while, 2 more passengers entered the bus and sat down. The old man immediately jumped up and accused the other man of stealing his wallet, which he denied. He suggested they jump off the bus and go to the police station, but the man found when they did indeed get off the bus that the old man wasn't angry. He said, "I just saved both our lives." He then claimed the other 2 passengers that just came on had been floating, that they were ghosts, and when the midnight bus was finally found days later, all inside were dead and the petrol tank filled with blood.
Number 3.
Slit-Mouthed Woman, a legend found in both Japanese and Chinese cultures about a samurai's wife who cheated on her husband only for him to find out and slit her mouth from ear to ear. It goes that she still wanders the earth, dressed in a surgical mask, asking people, "Am I pretty?" to which she then rips off the mask and repeats the same question. Anyone who doesn't respond positively is slaughtered by the Slit-Mouthed Woman.
Number 2.
Nak Phra Kanong, an 1800 story from Thailand about a woman called Nak married to a man named Tid. He was called away by the army just as she got pregnant, and while he was gone, she died during childbirth, killing both herself and her child. When Tid returned, he found her and their child's ghost, pretending to still be alive, fooling him. Nak would go around killing any neighbors that might inform Tid that she and her baby were actually dead. Eventually, Tik realized the truth, and Nak was sealed in a jar to be thrown in the canal until she was eventually released from her prison and vanished.
Number 1.
The Greek Soldier, a legend from World War II about a Greek soldier returning from the war to marry his fiancée. Before he could, rebel Greeks captured him, tortured him, and eventually murdered him. During the 1950s, rumors grew of a handsome soldier seducing beautiful virgin girls and impregnating them. After the babies were born, he would disappear and leave a note explaining he had to spread his seed that his sons might avenge him. That's it for this countdown, and have a good one! Midnight Game, a kid...